Wow. For Mike Flores, I'm Randy Bueller. You caught your breath yet?
It was a pretty exciting finish.
That was unbelievable.
I was actually talking to Billy Moreno, who built the deck, or Craig credits him with the deck, and he said it was helix or no. So he definitely wouldn't use the char any other way because he had no other outs. So he had to play to draw the helix.
Absolutely.
And, he flipped it over. But like I said, I think he was due. He drew only 2 burn cards, and one of them was callously robbed from him. So I think that he was pretty much due. And
So in addition to Mike Flores for the finals, I'm being joined by Brian David Marshall. Lean back a little bit, getting the shot, Brian. There you get a good look. How'd that game look from your point of view?
I was watching on the monitor, so I had the same perspective that the people at home had viewing the game. And it was just unbelievable. He actually could have also hit another char, right, and forced a game 6.
We could have drawn the game. Yeah, he could draw the game with another char. Good point.
I had thought he could hit Bathing Light also, but Bathing Light, the Rusalkas would have screwed that up, but the char would have definitely forced a game 6. So, but not the ideal situation. He wants to. Obviously, it was the Lightning Helix or no. But
where does that rank for you in terms of moments that you've seen at Magic tournaments?
That was the most exciting.
Finish
I've ever seen. Yeah, it was the most exciting finish I've ever seen. I wasn't there for the Finkel match. So I know he's going to opt for that.
I mean, obviously I'm biased, but it's not anywhere close to Finkel or Maher. Finkel Benefel.
This was better. This was one moment. That was all right, he blew him out. It was a lot of fun. Yeah, I love John.
What about when Bob randomly gets the disrupt to not lose the game, and then
I don't think a disrupt to not lose the game is better than a one-outer to win the game.
Kai drawing the Morphling
in game 5.
Were you there when Kai drew the Morphling?
I wasn't there for that either, but it's on that level, I think.
Yeah, Kai drawing the Morphling, but Kai drawing the Morphling.
Kai drawing the donate was.
Kai drew the Morphling. He was losing, and top decking the only card to not lose. I think is different than I have no chance except to draw the card that wins it.
But Kai drew the donate against Darwin after being connected with Croesus.
This was better.
In the message boards, or maybe it wasn't the message boards. I think it was a chat room. People were comparing as it looked like Olivier was going to win the game. Mm-hmm. They were like, they thought Olivier was out of it. It's obviously Dewey beats Truman all over again. But it actually Dewey does beat Truman. So this was was pretty big.
I thought this was going to be Olivier's Pro Tour, though.
Yeah.
I think Olivier thought it also.
I put Olivier in the finals. I initially thought Osip was going to make the finals, and then Osip would have beaten Olivier again. But barring Osip, I thought that it would be Olivier's Pro Tour. But Craig disagreed.
Instead of Olivier, we have Craig Jones and Mark Herberholz. What do you like in the finals?
I think Craig's deck has the advantage.
Really?
The reason is this: it's better to go second. For a number of reasons, but Mark has to go first because he has to bloodthirst. His 3/3 has to come online. It's generally better to go second in this kind of a matchup because you get one more card, and it's just like, I have a watch. Yeah, you helix it, and
maybe I'm not sure I'm buying it. I'm not sure I'm drinking the Kool-Aid yet.
No, that's what Dave's taught me.
What do you think?
I mean, I think maybe that might be true for Craig. I mean, Craig's got more burn, and he's obviously his creatures are just like. Urtai's metal burn spells. He plays them, and then a turn later they do 2 points of damage.
Okay.
But Herberholz is relying mostly on his creatures to do damage.
Right.
So he also is. I mean, certainly game 1 is relying on Moldavine Cloak and some other opportunities to have Craig get 2-for-1s on him.
Yeah, these cards are clunky. His creatures are slower. This is actually a matchup where Solifuge isn't that insane. Most of the matchups we talk about how great Solifuge is, but it's an X1. Costs 4, gets blocked, take a little trample.
So back in the day, Sly versus Sly, Dead Guy Red versus Dead Guy Red, you would choose to draw there.
Always draw.
I sort of see your point there that those matchups where you've got the red aggro deck versus the red aggro deck, the creatures tend to cancel each other out. The burn spells and the creatures just cancel each other out, and both players wind up in top deck mode, hoping to draw. I mean, back then it would be a curse scroll or something that would be a permanent damage source, and it was a card advantage match. If you could get ahead by a couple of cards, you could leverage that into a win.
Furthermore, I mean, he's got Frenzied Goblin's not that good.
It's a guy.
A 1/1. There's no guy that's just a 1/1 on Craig's entire team. I think that if Craig loses, it's going to be because of his mana base.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, one of the advantages Herberholz got for being just cool is he's got better mana stability. He's got a couple of Skargs in his deck. I mean, even if Craig has somewhat better spells, he should lose to the fact that his mana is just less consistent.
It's less consistent and highly dangerous.
Right.
Like take two, take one. It's just that really bothers someone, especially when he's playing against Dryad Sophisticate.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. Like, when I built decks before that didn't have a single legendary land, just so I didn't get Sophisticate.
Mm-hmm. I like Herberholtz here. I've seen him attack often enough with Scarred, a red and green back against a creature deck that I don't know that Craig has any answer for that.
His mana's smoother. He's going to be down a card almost every time. He has to go first. I think it matters.
He's got Blood Moon on the play, which is pretty exciting in the matchup. For the remaining 4 games.
Yeah, he does
Blood Moon on the play is
sideboard
going to
in
be
Blood
good.
Moon, right?
That's fair.
But does Craig? How many basics does Craig have?
2 forests and 1 plains.
And
0 mountains.
No mountain?
Yep.
Well, he'll have plenty of mountains to work with.
That's true.
Yeah, Mark could be sideboarding as many as 12 cards. He could be bringing in 2 Tin Streets, 2 Rumbling Slums, 4 Blood Moons, 4 Jades.
What's bad? Okay, definitely he's going to take out the 3/4s.
I think he's more likely going to take out the Moldavine Cloaks and the Flames of the Blood Hand.
Yeah.
He's not going to take out the Moldavine Cloaks on the play.
I think I'm a.
Well, I agree that on the play
he'll always have them. The chance that he can just go 2-1 and then Craig taps out and he puts Cloak on it, the game might end right there. Like that's really significant. I don't think he's going to take them out on the play.
I don't think the 3/4
Flames is
come out. Those
terrible.
Really good. Yeah, I agree with that. So your pick for the match?
I'm picking Heezy, but I think Craig's got it on deck. Again, the same thing I said.
So Craig's got it on deck, but you're picking Heezy anyway.
The opposite of what I said in terms of player, but the same thing I said, which I was wrong about in the quarterfinals.
I'm not going to not pick Craig after that last match.
You don't think he spent his equity?
I don't think so.
With Vishnu, or
I'm going with Craig all the way.
I think my tiebreaker vote is on Mark Herberholtz.
So
I think the beach house angle is too good. It's like so often to the history of the Pro Tour, like the story of the Pro Tour includes the winner, right? Paris wouldn't be Paris if Tad Bloom hadn't won. Right?
You guys don't really do like much in the way of coverage, like in terms of typing. Like so, you probably don't have the emotional investment I have in Craig. Craig's our champion. This is for Josh Bennett.
Craig's a sideboard
and for
reporter.
Ben Blyweiss,
for everybody who's ever
Toby
covered a
Walker,
Grand Prix feature match,
and for Ray Walkinshaw and Ted Knutson and everybody. I mean, he's out there for. I mean, I'm sorry, I'm partial.
I like it.
Partial
Craig Jones
David
fighting
Marshall.
on behalf of everyone who's ever covered a feature match.
That might replace Greedy M. Partial
so.
David Marshall.
It's not bad.
It's not
a little
good
long.
Either. The beach house angle is just too good for me. I mean, Hawaii should be won by one of the guys who said,
He didn't play the beach house deck though.
Neither did Antoine. Antoine was a beach house guy. He's like, look at the deck they're playing. Not me. Not so much the sevens.
Did everybody play Ken Ho's deck in Osaka?
No one, only Ken Ho.
Only Ken Ho, right? Wasn't he? He was the wrong guy with the wrong deck. Like the Magic Colony deck was. I don't even remember what the Magic Colony deck was.
It was
just like no one 3 years from now will remember that the beach house deck was black, white, control, with green.
Red, blue.
No one other than Mike
Compulsion Psychotog with the worst mana ever. It was like Compulsion, Psychotog, Violent Eruption.
Oh, right.
Sounds a lot like 7 mana black, white, green.
It does. It does. But yeah, Ken Ho just brought the beats with the Madness deck.
Any guess who designed that deck? Who makes the worst mana bases in Magic? Who designed
Brian Kibler.
Brian Kibler.
Brian Kibler, red, blue, black. Every deck.
Red.
Red. Blue, black.
Players are shuffling up. I can see them on the monitor. Herberholtz is sitting down, looking a little confident. Yeah, he's just he's fine. I mean, he's composed, concentrating. Craig Jones has got a smile from ear to ear. The man's going to be smiling for months after that top deck.
So most memorable of all time, you're saying?
I think
Lightning Helix.
I can't think of one that was better. I mean, the other scream from the audience that I remember was when Lindy beat Long. That was U.S. Nationals, and Pakula had really set up the moment really nicely. Pakula was sort of at his best as a commentator, and he just had that crowd ripped into this anti-Mike Long frenzy. And so, little 15-year-old, 16-year-old kid from Virginia beats him. It's like Long's about to go off and with his combo deck and win Game 5.
Abeyance.
And yeah, Matt Lindy has the abeyance. And we sort of knew Matt Lindy had the abeyance, so the moment didn't have as much drama, but it was like Mike Long being defeated. It was David slaying Goliath, evil Goliath. It was that was a fun moment
in the story anyway.
Yeah, right.
I think that anytime you're there to watch something like that. It makes it memorable. And the reason I think this will be the most memorable is that we apparently have more viewers for this webcast by a significant margin than for any other Pro Tour webcast in history.
Oh, that's cool.
So this is going to be the most memorable for the most people.
It's kind of cheating, but I mean, even like that moment wasn't, victory and defeat being decided. It was like maybe had the advance the whole time. It was just like, let's hope this 16-year-old kid doesn't mess up and let Mike Long win.
It's like Richard Port is only more hated than Kurt Skrull because there were fewer players playing when Kurt Skrull was killing everyone. Then everyone knows Richard Port. But that's a Jurassic reference.
I can't remember a better top deck. Like, there have been top decks to not lose, but I mean a top deck to win like that.
Oh, and also, I mean, Craig had the nice flair for
absolutely.
Flair
totally. Hats off. He's a coverage guy, right? He knew what the moment was about.
He framed it perfectly.
He absolutely did. I mean, his hand, I want to go back and watch the footage. It's like his hand went down. I didn't see red, but I saw something. I guess I saw a hint of gold, around the edge of his finger. And he pulls his hand back, and he realizes lightning. Oh, that was awesome. Whew. Maher Davis had some good moments in Chicago.
Every game was great moments.
Those were some good moments in every game. Yeah, he had some top decks. I don't know. I don't think they're quite up there with this one. I mean, Maher versus Finkel in the World's Game 1 was awesome, too, just because it was these, two of the best players in the history of the game at their peaks, throwing knockout punches.
I think that game is certainly up there in the top 5.
That game might be in the top
Maher
5.
Finkel?
I don't know if it didn't have one moment.
I don't think so, just because
this
at the time, Maher didn't realize that he had thrown the game away. And I think a lot of the people at home who were watching it didn't realize what was going on. Mm-hmm. Whereas it was only in hindsight and analysis that we see.
Maher made a small mistake that allowed Finkel to come back and win.
Maher should have just basically won.
Right. The way the cards were drawn, Maher could have just won that game, but he made a really subtle mistake that we didn't even really realize for months later. But then eventually people were like, well, whoa, what if he played it this way?
What happened was Maher made...
he had... He had Phyrexian processor. He was making 1919 tokens.
Yeah.
And he drew the card that means instead of your life total, you take cards from your library.
Yeah, because he had gone down to 1.
Right.
So he
gone down to 1 by paying 19
Sanctuary.
Life. Exactly.
Ostensibly to defend himself. He's going to play this either way because, John could conceivably come in with a metal worker.
Smash you for 19.
Yeah.
Smash you for 19. And each of those 19s is cards off his deck. So what Bob did was say, I need to get a head start. I'll go ahead and play the Sanctuary before I attack. Start working on Finkel's library.
Basically
the problem
a 3-turn clock.
That leaves Finkel with 20 life left, so he can play a processor of his own, and he's still got 19 life to play with. Instead, he should have attacked him down to 1, then played the Sanctuary. Now Finkel has no way to get out of it. It was a spectacular game the way it played out, and Finkel managed to come back and win, and Johnny Magic's awesome and all that.
Because Finkel had a Voltaic key, and Bobby didn't.
I think this was the best moment ever. Maybe the semifinals will taint it a little bit. It wasn't for the Pro Tour win, but you know what? I think it's going to come down to whether Craig wins this Pro Tour or not. How about we go see who's going to win this Pro Tour? Craig and Heezy are shuffled up. They are ready to begin. So let's get down to it. Let's go watch the finals. Let's find out who's going to be Pro Tour Honolulu champion. Hello and welcome to the Pro Tour Honolulu Championship match. We are starting the 2006 Pro Tour season in style. I'm Randy Bueller. I'm here with Mike Flores and Brian David Marshall. We've been enjoying Hawaii. We've been enjoying the beach. We enjoyed 16 rounds of Magic on Friday and Saturday. The quarters and of the semis have been spectacular. Now it all comes down to this. There you look at Craig Jones. He pulled off one of the most spectacular top decks in the history of competitive Magic to earn this seed in the finals. He beat Olivier Ruel in a decisive fifth game, the turn before he was going to lose, and he will be taking his Zoo deck, red, green, white aggro beads, into battle against Mark Herberholz. Herberholz has got red-green. It's a Gruul strategy, more consistent mana, bigger creatures, a land that gives his creatures +1/+1 and trample. Many people think that gives him the advantage here, but no one is willing to count out Craig Jones after what he pulled off in the semis. So the players have shuffled off. They are ready for game one, and looks like Herbert Holtz plays a Watch Wolf on turn 2 after Frenzied Goblin had... sorry, Craig plays the Watch Wolf after Frenzied Goblin came down on turn 1 for Mark Herbert Holtz.
Heezy has, like, some of his worst cards, I think, for the matchup, and Craig has some of his best. Double Bathe in Light and that historic Lightning Helix for Jones, and Heezy's got Burning Tree Shaman next turn, and then ostensibly he's going to follow up with Giant Solifuge. If Craig draws something, he should be able to defend, but right now, I think Craig just doesn't have enough. His cards are good, he just doesn't have enough creatures.
Craig's got a couple Bathe in Lights and a Lightning Helix in his hand. 5 land is at least one more than he really wants, maybe 2. No turn 3 play there is somewhat less than ideal. Herbert Holtz is attacking with Frenzied Goblin and is not dealing damage as quickly as Watch Wolf.
I gotta say, that's the worst start I've seen from Mark's deck in 2 days. You know, turn 1 Frenzied Goblin, turn 2 tapped Stomping Ground.
He's going to put the 3/4 in play, and it's going to at least contain Watch Wolf for a turn, it looks like. But he kind of wants Watch Wolf tapped so that he can send with everything.
He's Frenzied Goblin, he can still send with
He can't tap out for Solifuge and do that.
Oh, you're right.
Interesting story from yesterday, by the way. These two were paired in the, I think it was the next to last round. Craig Jones had already clinched top 8. Mark Herbert Holtz had not. Craig felt like, this matchup, I don't think I'm good in this matchup. I don't really want Mark Herbert Holtz in my top 8. And so the first thing he did, it looks like Herbert Holtz is going to char the Watch Wolf. And Bathe in Light is going to counter that. Yeah.
That's fine.
You like Char there instead of Burning Tree Shaman?
I think I would have played Burning Tree Shaman, but I don't think that Heezy cares that much that got countered.
I agree with that, but I think Burning Tree Shaman might be better than Char.
I think he wants Watch Wolf Red Zone, and he did it
so that he can hit him with Solifuge?
so that he can get in with Solifuge. I think he did it intentionally. Yeah, if he played Burning Tree Shaman, that wouldn't have happened.
Did he win a damage race here? Here's another... yeah, he doesn't have enough mana to activate the Frenzied Goblin and play... Anyway, so these two got paired in round 15. Craig figured, well, I don't really want Herbert Holtz in the top 8 because I think I'm at a disadvantage in this matchup. His Gruul deck is just better than against Zoo. And Herbert Holtz was like, come on, scoop me into the top 8. I mean, a lot of people there in Craig's situation would just scoop somebody. You know, they're not close friends, but they're acquaintances. They know each other. They hang out a little bit. Craig said, I'm going to play the match. They played the first game, and it actually ended in a draw thanks to Char. They play game 1 to a draw. They're sideboarding up, and Craig is just like, I'm not a dream wrecker. That's just not who he is. He's not the kind of guy who's like, I'm going to crush hopes and dreams. He felt like, found this niceness. It's like, I'd rather be the nice guy that helps out a buddy who needs it. He decided to concede the match and let Mark Herbert Holtz into the top 8. And now, here it is, the matchup that he wasn't sure he wanted, and he's playing it in the finals.
3 cards.
He's got to learn to be cold like Mark Herbert Holtz. Mark in the quarterfinals against Osip. Osip had Moloku in play and tapped an Urza piece to activate Moloku and picked up the Urza piece and immediately realized he wanted to pick up a depleted Tendo Ice Bridge.
Okay.
So he would have mana for Mana Leak and Remand on that turn. He'd be able to replay it. And Mark's like, no, I'm sorry, you picked up the Urza piece. And Osip looked at him like, come on. You got it. And he's like, sorry.
Wow.
And it may have been the game because he was able to char the Moloku on the next turn, and there was without counter magic.
He plays tight. I mean, he's a nice guy.
Yeah, I'm not faulting him for that at all.
But he plays tight.
But Craig should have played like that yesterday. He wouldn't be in this position right now.
Maybe. I mean, turns out the matchup was much closer than they realized as well. So Herbert Holtz played a Solifuge and attacked with it, and Craig just took it. He declined to trade Watch Wolf for it, right?
With 2 Lightning Helixes, this is an easy race.
So 2 Watch Wolves head into the red zone for Craig Jones. That drops Herbert Holtz down to 8. Craig holding a pair of Lightning Helixes. He doesn't want to trade creatures. He'd much prefer to trade damage. Herbert Holtz untaps. He's got to know something's up with 4 on top lands, Solifuge just being allowed to swing freely, right?
Yeah, but it's not scary.
Herbert Holtz is going to drop Jones to 5 with this attack, right? Or 4. Oh, sorry, 6. 4 + 1 damage.
It's just not scary for Craig, though. He has +6 life.
I know. Mark's got to be wondering what's going on. He's probably able to put Craig on that Lightning Helix just because of the way Craig's played the game. There's Burning Tree Shaman and Dryad Sophisticate. So it's 6-8.
That's Lightning Helix you.
Yep.
Craig points Lightning Helix at.
He's got the
Dome.
second Bathe Light, right?
Oh, Bathe and Light to
I'm pretty sure
Bathe
it's
and Light Pro
Bathe
Green.
Light.
Bathe and Light Pro Green gets the job done here, right?
Give him protection green.
Wow! Bathe in Light. 2 Watch Wolves come over with protection from green.
Very useful this
That
weekend.
card did everything that match. It counterspelled a burn spell and served as a falter. And congratulations, Craig Jones is up a game. Wow.
That was very quick.
That
Now
was
we go to
quick.
the sideboards and
What do you think sideboarding does to this matchup? Well, first of all, do you think that the game would have played out differently if Mark had played turn 3 Burning Tree Shaman?
Definitely.
How does the game play out if he goes Burning Tree Shaman instead of Char?
He has a Char, for one thing, instead of nothing. Craig tapped out more than once, which would have been violated with at least 1 or 2 opportunities to use the Bathe and Light. And, the Watchwolf would have done 3 less damage.
he could have picked his spot more carefully on the Bathing Light. I mean, on the
Char.
on the Char.
He should have played around.
I mean, he
Bathing
has to
Light.
know that the Bathing Light's there. It's been a factor. It's been a big card for Craig all weekend.
Right. I mean, the deck lists are public, so he knows what's there. But Mark may not have a lot of practice playing against Bathe and Light. Certainly not constructed. I'm sure.
I mean, Mark plays a
seen it
lot of limited.
Yeah. Sure. Interesting. So, what do sideboards do?
I
in
think
this matchup?
sideboards help Mark considerably more than they help Craig.
Are they both bringing in 4 Jidays, Mike?
I think that if one of them does and the other one doesn't, the one who doesn't is going to lose to Jide. So,
So are they also bringing in Naturalizes and Tin Street Hooligans?
I think that
to win the
yes.
war?
I hate cards like Naturalize and stuff like that against Jide. I think those are just so bad. Because if you have a Naturalize and they don't have a Jide, you have a dead card. And it doesn't win a war when you're in that situation. But
They both have 2 Tin Street Hooligans.
Yeah, I think
So that's a wash.
Mark
they both
will
bring them in. I'm
Mark
sure.
will bring in Blood Moon though, and I think so many of Mark's cards are bad, and he drew all of his bad cards.
Mark's going to bring in Blood Moon on the play, you think, also?
I think that
Or is he just going to bring it in on the draw and he's going to leave the Moldavine Cloaks in on the play?
I think that he's going to cut.
And he can bring in up to 12 cards here.
He has so many cards in his deck are just terrible. I think that he just has to cut them.
Frenzied Goblin goes.
Frenzied Goblin 4/1.
If you bring in Blood Moon, do you have to cut Sophisticate?
No, Sophisticate's still fine. You don't always have Blood Moon, and Sophisticate's essentially unblockable. Maybe you're right. Maybe he doesn't have Blood Moon and Moldavine Cloak in at the same time. I think he's always got Moldavine Cloak on the play. That's one thing I think. I think
because there's less opportunities for Craig to 2-for-1 him there when he tries to play it.
I think Burning Tree Shaman might be pretty poor because both players are playing on the.
Actually, Moldavine Cloak might just be terrible because of the because of the Bathing Lights.
Oh yeah, it's actually terrible against Bathe and Light.
Yeah, because he's got to give my guy protection from green. Your guy gets protection from green.
Wow.
Loses, the Moldavine Cloak goes away. So I think the Moldavine Cloaks are going to come out every game.
Okay, that's fair.
That's a good point. I hadn't thought about the interaction with Bathe and Light.
So we'll have to get a report from John on
Scab
what the
Clan Mauler's
exact,
pretty mediocre too. Guaranteeing damage is not something that Heezy can do.
Check, is it 15?
The winner of this match, by the way, wins $40,000.
Is that the biggest individual purse we've ever had?
I think so. I know that Julian, when he won Worlds, managed to pocket over $50,000 because he got some money. He got money from the Player of the Year payout that used to exist
and from the team event.
And he got some money from the Dutch.
It was like a 3-horse
team.
parlay, right?
Right.
Sure, it's not 16.
Was he Rookie of the Year too?
Yeah.
Yeah, but that didn't have a cash prize attached to it.
Might be.
So yeah, $40,000 first prize here. The loser, $22,000. So $18,000 on the line.
Wait, so $22,000? That's almost like winning a Pro Tour last year. Pretty.
No, it was $35,000 last year.
How much did the winner of Pro Tour Philadelphia get?
I get a little help.
The winner of Pro Tour Philadelphia got like $20,000.
Yeah.
It's like winning. It's like what Gadio got.
Yeah, that's not bad.
Oh yeah, that was nice.
Yeah, that was because of the skins game payout we tried out at that Pro Tour. The money got spread out to almost all of the field. Like 87% of the field got money or something, at least $100. And so the winner, I think Gadio wound up with a little over 20.
So that's really
Yeah, and that's what the loser of this match gets.
Yeah, it always happens whenever I do this sort of fancy, let's shuffle our sideboard into our deck so they don't know how many cards to do. I always do that and end up with something completely irrelevant in the matchup.
They're talking about the technique of shuffling all 15 of your sideboard cards
Right.
into your deck, which is actually a pretty good technique. But you've got to be pretty diligent about de-sideboarding. if you have any kind of attention deficit disorder whatsoever, it's probably pretty bad. But
V likes to not sideboard and then show people that he's not sideboarding. He's like, I don't think I need anything. He says it'll put them off.
what, in the future league he does this?
He used to do it back when he played Magic the Gathering. Instead of thinking about Magic the Gathering, his robotic cubicle. Magic the Gathering.
So can we get a report from John on what the actual sideboards were? Is that possible, John?
Yeah, Vector will go sort that out. Can we get him somewhere where the players cannot hear him?
How is Scorched Rusalka in this matchup?
It's good. Keeps counters up Jitte.
Oh, been pretty key.
So why are the Jittes in the sideboard here? This is
It's a terrible tempo card.
But we'll see.
It costs 4 mana. It could cost up to like 7 mana to Jitte. And if you are on the wrong end of a char, it's like you got double time walks, and the other guy's smashing you.
But now in this matchup, all of a sudden they both turn themselves into Jitte decks.
Well, the problem
Oh, maybe.
is
We
that
don't know for sure yet.
I'm guessing
I don't know why they're there. I don't know why they're there if you don't bring them in against the creature deck.
Obviously.
I mean, I assume you're saying they're bad against control decks to the point where you'd rather have them in the sideboard.
How many instant speed removals does Heezy have? The answer is 4.
The answer is
Chars.
4 copies of Char.
4 copies of Char.
I mean, if you want to be pretty broad, you can include 2 naturalizes in this board.
But I'm talking about 4 creatures.
To
Okay?
punish you for
He's 4 Char. So what do you think the danger is to Craig in terms of getting tempoed onto Jitte? Pretty low, right?
I guess the other reason for Jittes in the sideboard is that both players have Burning Tree Shamans in their main deck.
Yeah, but anyway, point being, the danger to Craig is pretty low because he's so light on removal spells that are instant speed, and so he can afford to become a Jitte deck. Now, Heezy has to become a Jitte deck, you're just going to lose.
That's two.
Good point. They can go.
No controversy there.
All right, well let's do a throwdown to John Becker, who can tell us how these players sideboarded their decks.
Hey guys, how you doing? Hello?
Yeah, go ahead.
Hey,
Go
I'm
for
sorry, I
it.
gotta talk really quietly here because I don't want to give away the sideboards to the players. Okay, Craig took out Flames of the Blood Hand, Kami of Ancient Law, and Shocks for Jittes, Hooligans, and Haunted Wumpuses. Heezy took out Flames, the Frenzied Goblin, and 2 Scab Clan Maulers for his Jittes, Tin Street Hooligans, and hold on one sec.
Is it Blood Moon, John?
No.
Naturalized? Rumbling Slum. It's
Yes,
gotta be Rumbling
that's
Slum.
right. Yes, that's correct, Mike. That's correct.
Yeah, it's gotta
What
be
is it?
Rumbling Slum.
Slum?
Yeah.
So they both brought in bigger men. Rumbling Slum on the one side and Hunted Wampus on the other.
Yes, that's correct. So out on both sides are the Flames of the Blood Hand, then Frenzied Goblins and Scab Clan Maulers for Heezy, and Kami of Ancient Law for Craig, and Shocks for Craig.
So they both took out small creatures for big creatures. They both turned themselves into Jitte decks. And Craig took out his Shocks.
Yes.
It's fine. But look at how
you,
much...
you were just saying that you punished the Jitte player by...
Mark's creatures are all 3 toughness.
Okay. Good point. And he took out the small ones, it turns
Yeah,
out.
it's I'm sure Craig anticipated something along those lines. What's interesting is
I
like
can't push my luck that far.
how often
Thanks.
how often in a matchup like this is Rumbling Slum not the biggest dude?
So I was actually talking to the dealers. If you go back and listen to my podcast, first thing Friday morning, I went to the dealers to ask them what cards they were selling. I think it's always an interesting way to sort of get a read on the constructed field. And they're like, oh, all these Japanese players came up and bought mind bends. So you gotta ask,
that red mana source.
why are all the Japanese players buying mind bends? Right? Turned out they had them in the sideboard of their owl decks to beat Copperhead, right? So we learned stuff like that just talking to the dealers about what cards they're selling. They were sold out of owls. They were sold out of Kami the Crescent Moon. Like you could have gotten a read on how many owl decks were in the field.
Craig's
from talking to the
mulliganing to
dealers.
5.
Wow.
I think that favors Heezy.
So the point of my story is that Paul Reitzel comes up, and apparently every tour, Paul shows up without a deck, He just shows up to hang out and he plays, and he's like, he's a good enough player. But he basically builds his deck by going to the dealer table and flipping through binder pages. And like he knew he was playing red green aggro, and he's looking for sideboard cards, and he's literally just flipping through binders at the dealer's table, and he's like, Hunted Wampus. This thing's gigantic. Is this good against the other zoo decks? And he's like, I think I'm going to sideboard Hunted Wampus. And so he buys the Hunted Wampuses and then goes off to brag about this sideboard card that he feels like he just came up with off the top of his head. And so the dealer I was talking to, Michelle, she said that like in the 15 minutes after Paul went off with these triumphant Hunted Wampuses around the room, she sold 40 more Hunted Wampuses.
She should hire Paul Reitzel.
She should. She should absolutely hire Paul Reitzel. There was just this stream of people all of a sudden were buying Hunted Wampuses. And so I got to wonder, when Craig put them in his sideboard? Maybe he was part of the rush.
Craig was definitely osmosing things into his deck
at the last minute.
At the last minute, he was. The Flames of the Blood Hand came from Billy Moreno.
Okay.
It's quite reasonable to let's just say he took the Hunted Wampuses from Paul
Maybe he
Reitzel.
did, because his sideboard is radically different from Billy's. Billy transforms into Ghazi Glare afterboard and lets people die to their own Burning Tree.
Yeah,
shots.
that's right. I was talking to Billy Moreno about that. He just did not know which was the right sideboard strategy against the other creature decks.
Billy's sideboard strategy seems very, very superior to me.
It got him into the top 16.
He was in a tie for top 8.
Billy Moreno actually,
Craig mulliganing down to 4, by the way.
Oh boy. Let's talk some more about Billy Moreno and look away. Billy had, he
hats off
has
to him.
some major
lot.
contributions to this deck, and then he has a top 2 in a constructed Pro Tour, and then the next constructed Pro Tour he has a top 16.
Yeah, baby.
Craig Jones is mulliganing down to 3.
Well, he's trying to top his performance at the end of the semifinal rounds.
I guess
he's
so.
looking for something more legendary.
Yeah, hats off
the
to
3-card win.
Oh damn! I've forgotten. He's not
hats
playing
off to
out.
Billy Moreno. He caught a lot of flack for his performance in the top 8 in Los Angeles, but he came right back. Very next constructed Pro Tour, puts up a top 16 finish.
Right.
I think that has to silence some of the doubters.
Absolutely. I mean, he's a very smart guy. I was talking to Mike Turry. Mike was reading a book about companies that do things in a certain way that differentiate them from other companies in similar categories.
Sure.
And it was basically the difference between being a good corporation and being a great corporation.
Okay.
And he said it was really interesting to apply some of the stuff he was learning in that book to Magic players. And Billy Moreno was an example of someone he thought was a player who could be around for the long haul. He's like, he made some play mistakes, but he said his approach to the game, and he felt his preparation for the tournament was such that he's the kind of player that has a lot of success left in him.
Billy's extremely open-minded, and he has a burning desire to surround himself with people who
3
can
cards.
improve him.
And he can play. Oh my gosh!
That's like the best.
That might be the best 3-card hand of all time.
Savannah Line, Isamaru is the hand. And a Sacred Temple.
He can't even attack.
Come on, kill him.
Oh, Dryad's
I'm gonna chill for a little while.
Craig draws. Lightning Helix.
The legendary Lightning Helix.
18.
Keezy's not going to have any problem winning this game, is
I
he?
can play with 3 cards. Go.
Keezy didn't even think about blocking with Dryad Sophisticated Player. I might have. Did you really want to get a damage race? I mean, if he trades cards,
Is he holding a
can't
burning
lose.
tree?
How can he lose a damage race from this situation?
It's easier than losing a card advantage race.
I'm pretty sure the game's over with burning tree.
Burning tree. What? Craig adds another Savannah Line to his board.
Attack for 5.
See, I'll let him get his good draw out of the way against my 3 cards.
Burning tree. Craig says, I'll let him get a good draw out of the way against my bad draw, my 3-card draw. Burning Tree and Dryad Sophisticated head into the red zone.
Trips block.
I think he blocked.
He can't double block. Double block's suicide. He has to triple block if he's going to block.
Sure.
Or no block.
Just have to take it.
Alright.
Craig concludes that he has to take it. Down comes Rumbling Slum.
What noise does Rumbling Slum make?
You're the noisemaker, Mike.
I think he goes like bomb, 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 bomb. Oh, he has a red land. And
What
a
does
watch
that
wall.
do?
He can gain 3 life after taking 2.
Seems like a shame that you get this draw this game.
Easy has indeed wasted quite the draw. Look at that curve.
I think that Craig's best play is to scoop before he frustrates himself.
I'm not sure he gets frustrated, but he's pretty aware of his situation.
I'm not winning this. It doesn't matter.
Right on cue.
Yeah. Oh, go on. Go ahead and fight him.
Craig gets in 4. Play this land tapped or untapped? Gotta go for untapped, right? Craig
Doesn't he kill the rumbling slug yet?
How?
Ow.
His lightning helix?
It didn't block.
Oh, it didn't block. I thought he.
No, the Rusaka blocked this mana line, and that was
Oh,
it.
okay. It was the Scorcher Salk. I'm sorry.
Lightning Helix is going to kill Dryad Sophisticate. There's the char for Mark Herberholtz, and that'll do. Mark Herberholtz wins game 2. What was that?
Had to get it in while I can.
I think he got that out of Antoine's bag of
Like that
tricks.
this
Like Antoine has like perhaps a briefcase. Over here, some spare Ancestor Recalls, a pink antlered hat, and something that
Winnie the Pooh. Little Winnie the Pooh.
a little whatever he's got.
The other way around.
He probably got like an extra hat for Kenji. Like Kenji might need a hat. Here's one. Oh, here's like.
Well, Mark Herberholtz is even this match at 1 game apiece. Instead of best 3 out of 5, we are now playing best 2 out of 3, with Craig Jones getting to go first.
So the games that Craig loses is just gonna be games that his deck just like blows itself up.
Yeah, I don't feel like we've learned a whole lot about this matchup yet. You know?
Well, isn't that what we've said about Zoo? Is that Zoo will just sort of
Osip said that his
fall
matches,
apart on you. The mana will just fall apart on you like every couple of games.
his matches all against Zoo, except against Craig, where they drew. All his matches with Zoo were Zoo blew him out once. He won one by the skin of his teeth, and then Zoo mulliganed to 3. Or something like that. Like he just had terrible draws.
There was a nice post on the message board asking what the best 5 moments of last season were.
The best 5 moments of last season.
Yes. I think we know what one of the best moments of this season is going to be.
Okay, you got one. But best 5 moments of last season.
So you already mentioned
The bluff, double bluff, triple bluff, might be number 1.
certainly Terry So's bluff of Frank Karsten is on the list
That's,
somewhere. Was it a double bluff? Was it a triple bluff? I mean, Karsten knew it wasn't.
Was it an error?
Right. It was clearly an attempt at a bluff.
I think Akira Asahara wearing the Finkel
Finkel
suit.
shirt?
I mean, it falls a little short because he doesn't win his next match, but
he won
getting
the
past the
match.
impossible match, that was certainly high up there for me last season.
Antoine getting Kenji to get his Psychotal counter by Force Spike was awesome.
That was awesome.
There's a nice list by LionDen56 that includes several of those. I don't know about the others.
Jeffrey Cerrone's win has got to be up there, like the.
Yeah, there's no one moment, but that's
Yeah, it's
just
just
that
like the
blowout.
collapse of Oiso's draft.
Right. The 3-0, 3-0,
feeding
3-0.
into Cerrone's superhuman deck.
I think Cerrone's 9-0
Right.
is certainly.
And that's not a single moment, I guess.
It's
No, but it's memorable.
It's one of the highlights of the season. I mean, it was never done before, right? That's what we determined.
Right. It had never been done. No one had ever 9-0'd the 9-0'd Sunday.
What about Cerrone versus Pierre, where Cerrone Aether Vials, where Pierre's trying to Aether Vial, and then Cerrone Madness's Circular Logic, and Pierre responds by Aether Vialing Meddling Mage.
That was cool.
That was awesome.
That was a great play.
That was a really great play.
Lines then mentioned the double Indomitable Will play, which is the great game 1 that Kuroda had against Anton, where he just slams down 2 Indomitable Wills and just beats.
I don't know if
But
that's top 5.
it falls apart because Anton just dismantles him in the following games.
What about the...
Dismantles him with the Soratamis and against the Mountain Walkers.
Okay.
A key one is B-tape against Kenji, where he declares the wrong color with
That was a mess
the
up.
shoal.
Yep.
But it was highly... I mean, put Kenji into the finals.
Meanwhile, Game 3 has begun. Craig Jones pays 2 for an early stomping ground and leads with a Kurt Ape. Tapped stomping grounds for Herbert Holtz, and Kurt Ape gets into the red zone.
I guess he used up all his Kurt Ape draws against Osip. He had turn 1 Kurt Ape every game. Osip just couldn't believe it.
And now here's turn 2 Watch Wolf. Pretty nice start for Craig Jones. Triad Sophisticate from Mark Herbert Holtz. Not big enough to...
Mark's guys are just terrible at fighting. Like,
Ooh.
all of... Oh, and a Jitte for
Jitte,
Craig.
Isamaru, Shock, Char, Land. That is an outstanding hand.
What's the play? Shock, Jitte, smash for 5?
Yep. Shock, Jitte, smash for 5. Or I think Shock, Jitte, smash for 5. It's definitely Jitte, smash for 5. I might hold Shock back. Oh, no, I would go Isamaru, actually.
Just keep up because you can char whatever he puts in the way.
13.
I would have gone Isamaru.
If you go
Jitte.
Isamaru, you might lose to Moldervine Cloak Jitte. That's the problem.
Okay, I'll buy that. Shock's probably better. He goes Shock Isamaru.
Oh, he's playing for the 4-drop.
There's Burning Tree, Char, Smash, right? 3,
Char,
4, 5,
smash.
6, 7.
He's a monster.
Get that out of the way.
7.
Burn the monsters, send in the weenies.
Lethal in play.
Red deck strategy at its best. Kurt Ape, Watch Wolf, and Isamaru head into the red zone.
Oh, yeah.
It's now 16-6.
This is like the
Herbert Holtz
fantasy
is
zoo
at
draw.
6 with no creatures in play, facing down a Hound of Conda, a Kurt Ape, and a Watch Wolf. Can he recover from
I don't
here?
think there are any legitimate outs. I mean, he can just delay. He can put down Rumbling Slump.
Yeah, Rumbling Slump, but like the
He's gonna
damage from
take a
Rumbling
damage.
Slump is going to start adding up in a hurry.
No, it'll kill him. He's on 6.
Yeah. There's Rumbling Slump.
I mean,
He takes 4 and then takes 1.
Craig's just gonna go Jitte smash with everything, let Rumbling Slump kill you.
Sounds like a plan. Boy, a couple blowouts in these last 2 games. Herbert Holtz had a great draw. Craig Jones's draw here seems even better. And he didn't squander it against a 3-card mulligan either. There is Umezawa Jitte. Equip. Does it matter who you put it on?
I think you put it on Watch Wolf.
I thought that was the one guy. That's the guy you know is going to get
He's
blocked.
guaranteed to be blocked.
I think that means you don't want it on there, right? Then it just means you have to re-equip it next turn?
It doesn't. I don't think it matters. Rumbling Slump.
Yeah, Rumbling Slum eats the Watch Wolf. 16-2.
Oh, yeah, 2. Sorry.
He has no outs now. Okay, isn't Watch Wolf dead?
Oh, yeah, Watch Wolf's dead, so.
Like he could hear you.
Yeah, there's no outs. Smash for 5, I'm dead.
Thinking about this, though?
Really?
Really?
He just spent his Jitte counters to kill the Rumbling Slump.
I'm not sure I like that play.
It's actually terrible.
Huh. Yeah, here's Burning Tree Shaman.
Dope.
And Scorched Rusalka. All of a sudden.
No, he wants
Why
to
did
let
he-
him back in the game. I don't know.
Why?
If he let Rumbling Slump live, he just wins. He's gonna equip Jitte, not get any take damage, not getting any counters.
Or he's just going to play his
Plays
guy and
another
wait
Kurt
for the
Ape.
burn spell.
And a Watch Wolf. 2 more monsters and then says go.
Sort of how we played against Olivier in the semifinals. He didn't want to attack into the hand of
And that's
cruelty.
good enough. Nothing Mark Herbert Holtz can do about that. Craig Jones let him in the game for an extra turn,
Yeah,
but
it was a monster.
Herbert Holtz could not do anything about it. Craig Jones takes a 2-1 lead. Craig Jones is now 1 game away from winning
I
Pro
just,
Tour
evil. I
Honolulu.
just have evil tendencies. I try and restrain them, and occasionally they just jump.
Why do you
I think he knows that's a mistake now.
Why did he kill the Jitte, the Rumbling
I think he
Slump?
just figured out that he messed up.
Oh, okay.
It's like his evil tendencies are, the bad player inside struggling to get out. Craig's been keeping the bad player at bay for most of the
Would it
last
help
year.
if I said I just ripped the land off the top?
I mean, maybe he was worried about having the rumbling slum pick up a Jedi itself.
No, it can't. It's just deuces. He can respond by gaining 4.
Right.
There's no. He puts Mark on a 0 outer if he
I think
he plays it like that.
It didn't matter much. The game was pretty much won. I think it was a mistake, but Craig Jones has still been playing great most of the weekend. And he's got himself now 1 game away from winning this Pro Tour.
It's one of those things Chris Manning calls. Chris Manning was a neutral ground regular. He calls it fractional card advantage. Like when you make a small mistake, you give your opponent like this fraction of a card, and over the long haul they can add up, but usually they don't really mean much of anything.
Chris Manning went to Harvard and therefore thinks about things too specifically.
I like fractional card advantage. I can usually add it up to a couple cards over a match.
Blue cards are for wusses.
Yeah. Those fancy boys, if you ask me.
Yeah.
Have you guys talked about that? Where are the islands?
You know, I actually think Blue is at a disadvantage right now because 2 of its guilds are in dissension. Like, it's the only color that only has 3
There
guilds
were
right now.
3 blue decks in the top 8.
It's still, I think it's the worst
3.
color of the 5 right now.
We think it's the worst?
Of the 5.
I think it's the best color.
I mean, historically, Magic speaking, obviously.
No, I think it's the best color right now.
In the format, well, look at the decks that are playing here. Maybe there's a control deck out there that can solve the puzzle, but the control decks here weren't even all playing.
Let me
blue.
ask you.
Do you really think that Owling Mine has life beyond
No, no,
Sunday?
That's a separate question. Let me ask 2 questions to Randy
You go
first.
first.
Number 1, who did you pick to win the tournament before the game
I've lost
started?
like 2
Oh,
dice
so-
rolls
Okay.
this weekend.
And what deck did you say you would have played if you had to play in this tournament?
Did I ever answer that question?
Yes, you did.
When?
At the end of day 1, and you answered it again at the end of day 2.
What did I say?
You said the blue red Tron deck.
Okay.
I'm just saying, like, he
I
happened.
said it looked very powerful. I
Yeah,
don't know
he
that I said
happened
I
to
would have
not
played
win
it.
his match. Like, it's a pretty small sample set. I think.
No, I mean, the thing is, there's 10, 15, maybe 20 viable decks.
Yeah.
So there can be very good blue decks and it'd still be the worst color.
And what about white?
White's got plenty of game. Black, white, and red, white, green are 2 of the...
The lifeblood of black white is the black half, not the white half.
The black, white cards count. Anyway, Game 4 has gotten underway. Craig Jones is 1 game away from potentially winning Pro Tour Honolulu.
He's got all the
He's
tools
led-
in hand.
Does he?
He's got. I don't know if he's got. I gotta see if he's got the mana, but he's got a Jitte. He's got a Moldavine cloak. He's got 3 4s.
Wow.
He's got
That's
4
Herber
4s.
Halls. That's Herber Halls.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's what I said.
2-drop Jitte. No 2-drop Jitte? Oh, he doesn't want to get 10th Street.
Mark passes the turn. He went turn 1, Kurde. Turn 2, declines to play his
Yeah, he
Jitte.
doesn't want to get 10th Street.
Craig Jones played a Savannah line on his first turn, plays a second Battlefield Forge. There's Herberholtz fighting on behalf of the Beach House. Craig Jones fighting on behalf of sideboard reporters everywhere. MagicTheGathering.com coverage team specialist Craig Jones.
He's off to Manila after
Is he
this.
covering Manila?
He's covering Manila.
Oh, wow.
funny.
Craig's got Lightning Helix. This could be terrible for Heezy.
There's
no,
Stark.
he's going to play a 3/4. He's not going
Okay.
to play. He's not going to do anything to put himself in a position to get 2 for 1 here. He's got to be aware. He's aware of the removal.
Yeah. Both players did nothing on their second turn because both of them wanted to leave. We're trying to guard against getting smashed.
It's sort of like playing the blue. It's sort of like 2 players sitting on counter spells.
It
It's
sort of
very
is.
similar.
Well, especially in the
And
case
Craig
of
Jones
Craig.
points Lightning Helix at Kurde, by the way.
Craig with his actual counterspell, Bathen Light. He plays it very much like a counterspell.
No,
Char Smash,
no third land.
no third land.
I don't see a third land in that draw.
No green.
No green mana at all.
If Craig
so
loses games, it's always because he's screwed like this, it looks like.
the drawback of the Zoo deck, he's got a Watch Wolf that's trapped in his hand. He's got a Haunted Wumpus that's trapped in his hand. He's got a Kurde that's only a 1/1. He's got a Char he can't cast. Does have Bathen Light. It goes for the 1/1 Kurde.
Done?
Wasn't that a criticism you had of the Zoo deck early on, Mike? The
Yeah,
idea
I
that
don't-
You can't search for the lands like you can in Extended. In Extended, it's with the fetch lands. It's just so amazing. But in
I just don't. I mean, obviously it's a powerful deck. It's in the bronze. I just personally I don't like it. I wouldn't make that choice. I'd rather just play a less powerful mono red deck that didn't shoot itself in the foot like this.
Here's Moldavine Cloak. Burning Tree Shaman is now wearing the Moldervine cloak, and Mark Herberholtz is serving with a 5-6 monster.
I would gamble that Umezawa's Jitte does not make an appearance on Mark's side.
5-6. That thing's 6-7, isn't it?
Yep.
Unless Craig plays his first.
You're at 9.
Wow.
Go to 15.
Craig Jones takes 6 down to 9. And Herberholtz takes one from a pain land in order to play a Scorched Rusalka. 6-7. That is gigantic.
Craig, still no land?
He does have the Bathing Light.
What's that do?
He can get rid of
Moldervine Cloak?
Moldervine Cloak.
Yeah, Moldervine Cloak was supposed to be in the sideboard because of Bathing Light.
I mean, I guess it was still good as a burn spell.
What opportunity is he going to have? If he doesn't attack at least with the lion here, he's actually in a lot of trouble. But he has to try to go for the double block Bathing Light play. With a pro green, he could just lose to an instant.
He can't save both his creatures.
He can't. He's in a serious hole, and he's going to take damage to cast it. And his Curdape's a 1/1.
Right.
I didn't even realize that. It's horrible.
Yeah, he can't even kill.
Yeah.
He couldn't kill it even if he did double block.
Good.
Here's another Savannah Lion.
Yeah.
Not looking good for Craig Jones.
He actually might Jitte the other creature now, and then
The
serve with
Rusalka?
both. Yeah, I think it's quite possible. Or he could actually just play Rumbling Slum as well.
Is Mark worried about shock here?
How could he be?
No, good. Just sent it.
Smashes into the red zone.
He doesn't even care about his own life total at this point, I think.
How do you block if you're Craig Jones?
Just
Burning Tree Shaman wearing a cloak and Scorched Rusalka are coming at your face.
probably just throw the Curdape in the path of.
You're going to die to the Rusalka damage if you don't block the Burning
So
Tree
he
Shaman.
trades Curdape for Rusalka
He's
and
gotta try
jump blocks with Savannah Lion.
He's got to try to build up some way to Bathing Light away that.
Rumbling
Moldervine
Slum.
Take 2.
Bathing Light away the Rumbling Slum.
Yeah.
There's a 5-5 and a 6-7 on Mark Herberholtz's side of the board. Craig Jones has a 2-1 and not anymore. Game 4 goes to Mark Herberholtz.
Is this going to be the fastest 5-game finals ever?
This is pretty fast.
This is
If you-
faster than London, and that was
That one
9
I should've
games
mulliganed.
total.
London was fast. This is, if you like your Magic fast and bloody, welcome to Hawaii.
Finding a fist.
If you
These
like,
guys look like they're in a hurry to get back to the beach.
if you like the gruel, welcome to Guild Pass.
Does Craig really look like he's been spending time at the beach?
All right, that's a good point. Herbie does. So who do you like in Game 5? I count the score right now at Craig Jones 2, Craig Jones's mana -2.
I agree with your assessment. He's on the draw in the last game. I think Craig has the advantage.
See, I was going to say Craig's
I'm
going
gonna
first,
make it
so I think he has
decisive.
the
It's
advantage.
not going to end the fifth game.
It's like Herberholtz wants to draw and Craig wants to go first, so they're...
No, I think Craig has the advantage because he's on the draw. He's the second
All
he
right.
works on the play. His Moldervine
Oh,
Cloak
right.
and that Scab Clan Mauler.
Oh, and
I think he's at a huge disadvantage.
I think you guys agree to agree.
We agree.
Maybe
We
draw
agree.
like third game.
Come on, buddy, help me out. You
It's
guys
a-
not enough.
It's I think it's up to Craig Jones's deck.
Into 3.
If Craig Jones's deck wants to deploy land and spells, colors, for example, rather than like double Battlefield Forge,
Oh, we can do it, baby.
he'll have a much better chance.
To be remembered forever.
Battlefield Forge is literally the worst land that Craig can possibly draw. It's
Yeah.
not a forest,
Does damage.
does damage.
This game is gigantic. I mean, you think about the way in which Pro Tour champions are remembered. Like, people don't remember second place a whole lot. There's a lot of a lot at stake here. There's $18,000 cash at stake, which is big enough, but I mean, is this Pro Tour going to be remembered as the Beach House winning, or as, you know, Craig Jones's miraculous top deck turns him into Craig Jones Pro Tour champion? That's a big game. It's not going to last very long, but there's going to be a lot decided.
I think it's going to be the beginning of when the sideboard reporters replace Japan as the dominant nation on the Pro Tour.
Really, which other sideboard reporters?
We're heading to Madison. We're going to qualify for.
I've done my share of sideboard coverage in the past.
That's true. Absolutely.
We're gonna bring.
I mean, the sideboard crew here, by the way, I think could easily have won this Pro Tour. Mike Turian, Aaron Forsythe.
Good luck anyway.
You know, I might take me a while to get the rust off, but I could make a run at it again.
If it were,
You've
take
been
these
doing
guys.
pretty well in the drafts lately.
Mike Turian never loses ever.
Yeah, well, I saw some guys doing a draft earlier, and they claim they won with their secret weapon,
Yeah.
Matt Place.
Well, he's a Pro Tour champion, isn't he?
Could be really bad for Greg Collins if Craig wins this. If Craig Jones wins this,
What about?
may have trouble finding coverage staff for.
Can we knock the
Collins.
dust off of Kibler? You know,
He's not a coverage guy.
Kibler's got some bylines.
Covering the matches after you're eliminated doesn't count.
All right, fair enough. Fair enough.
Otherwise, we could claim Julian on the Grand Prix circuit. Who does a great job of coverage, by the
Yeah,
way.
he's good.
And a better job of playing in the Grand Prix.
Yeah, when he's 1-2.
Oh, it's a mulligan for Craig Jones. One game with the Pro Tour on the line, but he is going down to 6.
Easy sees blood.
Oh, look at the Beach House crowd over here pumping the fist. They're chanting 5.
Chanting for 5.
Go down to 5.
Where's he going down to 5?
He's going to 6 right now.
Going to 6 right now. I think they have.
It's very funny to watch Mark when his opponent is mulliganing. He
Yeah.
tries so hard not to smile. It's so hard for him. Look at him. He's covering his face.
But he's like a human spring. Like anyone who's seen him on The Price is Right, he's like a super ball, like very bouncy. He can barely stay in his chair right now, I think.
I can barely stay in my chair right now, so I'm excited. All right. Craig Jones will draw 6 cards. Are these the ones that will win him the Pro Tour?
What do we have?
Watch Wolf, Savannah Lion, couple of lands, Char.
That's got to be a keeper.
What are the lands?
Here's a break. Yeah, I'll keep it.
It's a free char for Heezy, though. 4 damage Craig's doing to himself in the first 2 turns.
Herbert holds his thinking too, isn't he?
I don't know. Chancing for me to go to 5. This is very unsporting.
18.
Takes 2. Drops the Savannah Lion. Herbert holds straws.
Craig's mana certainly didn't disappoint him this game. I mean, in this draw, it looks pretty
Forrest go for Heezy?
good. Triple Moldavine Cloak in hand.
Really?
That seems like an odd hand to keep with so much on the line. You got the Sophisticate
Wow.
for it.
2 more
He
lands.
has the Sophisticate.
2 more damage for his land. Craig's got all 3 colors. He's got Watch Wolf, Savannah Lion. Herbert Holtz has, looks like a mountain, cloak,
He's got a
Curd
Triad
Ape.
Sophisticate.
He's got the Sophisticate. Plays the Curd Ape
He just wants to intimidate here, I think.
for the 2/3.
He's going to keep the Savannah line from attacking.
True. Not going to slow down Watch Wolf.
Ooh, a shock.
No 3rd land for Craig Jones though. He can go Shocky tomorrow. Would you trade Savannah Lion and Shock for Curd Ape here?
Probably not.
No, he just serves with Watch Wolf. 16 to 15 now.
Leaves up shock mana.
Yep.
Alright, this is going to be...
Heezy goes for a cloak here.
But Cloak's not that good. Oh, I mean, Cloak don't attack?
I don't know.
If he cloaks, it's an open to Cloak.
He's
But then not attack is probably...
you would go cloak, not attack.
It's his best Cloak play.
He's facing down Watchful Savannah Lion Isamaru, so if he swings, he's trading 5 for 7. That's not a good
He's
trade.
behind to begin with. If he's going to play Cloak, it's got to be Cloak don't attack.
Does he have any other options?
Wouldn't he rather
can
play Dryad
Sophisticate?
Sophisticate, leave Curd Ape still back to block, and then cloak
He
the Curd Ape?
cloaks.
And cloak the Sophisticate?
He's going to cloak and swing?
No, he's
no,
not
cloak
swinging.
and say go.
He's going to play
All
Sophisticate
right,
next
Curd
turn.
Ape is now a 5/6.
6.
Craig Ian, does he shock here? Surely not.
No.
Go to
he
the
can't.
base?
He has to pray to draw land or
Yeah.
Lightning Helix.
Okay, I agree.
He's not going to block the Watch Wolf either. There's no reason to give outs. He's going to block one of the 2s.
Hunted Wumpus is the draw. Not the draw Craig Jones is looking for. He just wants a land. He's got Burning Tree Shaman and Char in his hand. Now, can he attack? He could trade Cash In Watchwolf for 4 points of damage, but that only drops Heezy to 11.
Yeah.
Craig Jones says no. He just passes the turn.
Heezy might just Solifuge here and swing. Leave back. He's going to leave back Kirdape, but I think he might Solifuge swing. Just to get the split card out of the way. It's not the kind of card that you can take on the jaw twice.
I think I saw 2 Sophisticates. Would be an interesting play.
Double Sophisticate would be interesting, yeah. Brian, did you say he had 3 Moldavine cloaks?
It looked like he had 3 Moldavine cloaks.
Some number of them.
I'm on a bad angle here, so I'm going to
Solifuge
plead.
swing. No, Solifuge defend?
Well, he played Giant Solifuge. That much is clear.
Now, we know that Craig's unwilling to attack with this board. So, it seems like leaving Solifuge back doesn't do much.
There are 2 cloaks there.
Lurking in his hand?
Yep. 2 cloaks. How many Sophisticates?
Go.
Really?
1 Sophisticate, 2 cloaks. Solifuge, go. Oh, there's the planes for Craig Jones. Burning Tree Shaman?
What other play does he have? Sit back on Char? Doesn't do much.
Sit back on Shock if he wants to cloak the Sophisticate. Oh, he doesn't have
There's
the
no Sophisticate yet.
There's no Sophisticate.
No, Burning Tree Shaman. That's the other reason Sophisticate's a nice play, because he really wants to cloak a Sophisticate. And there would have been a window here where he could have.
Is it 4th cloak? Oh, Rumbling Slum.
So Craig Jones' board is Burning Tree Shaman, Watchwolf, Savannah Lion, and Isamaru, Hound of Conda. Mark Herberholz's board is a Kirdape wearing a Moldavine cloak plus Giant Solifuge.
I think he has, whether or not he attacks, I think he's going to play Sophisticate and Moldavine Cloak both this turn.
Wow, I'm told the largest viewership on the web right now comes from Japan and Brazil.
Wow.
Huh. Mulder's second Moldavine cloak on Kirdape, and Heezy sends that behemoth into the red zone. That is an 8-9
how big is that?
Gigantor.
8-9.
8-9. Doesn't trample or anything.
Brazil and Japan are the largest non-US viewership. Is the actual stat. Still kind of cool.
The chumping
What do you
begins.
do about
One for the team.
Yeah, Isamaru takes 1 for the team. That makes sense. And down comes Dryad Sophisticate. Now, he could have gone Dryad Sophisticate cloak.
I thought he was going to cloak a Sophisticate and pass.
Isn't that better?
I don't know. He ate a guy. It makes it less likely for him to lose to Fade and Light.
But 5 power unblockable.
Oh.
Yeah, it's soon to be additional power from another Moldavine Cloak.
Only if Craig taps out.
You think Craig would just... I guess
16, 15,
Craig should probably char that. You're right.
Yeah.
16 to 15. Both players have been building up their boards, but not able to damage the other guy. Mark Herberholz has put together a gigantic Kirdape.
You got 2 cards in hand?
Yeah. They're good, though.
Randy, what about making Armadillo Cloak with Dredge?
I think Elephant Guide's an interesting comparison for that card. Elephant Guide didn't have nearly the impact. It's kind of interesting.
I like the Elephant Guide.
I always thought it was a good card. I was surprised it didn't see more play. It's starting to see some play and extended, which is interesting.
It was one of the best cards you could put on a Wild Mongol when you're swinging into a Psychothug.
All right, so if you're Craig Jones, what's your play here? There's an 8-9 Kirdape on the other side of the table. You've got Hunted Wumpus, lands that you could pay 2 life for to then play Hunted Wumpus.
I think he has
You've
to
got
pay
Char,
2.
and you've got Shock.
It's 9 toughness.
Yeah, Hunted Wumpus and Burning Tree Shaman can tag team that Kirdape, right?
Yeah, he has to. I mean, even if he triple blocks it, he's just smashed to any burn card. And
No, I mean Burning Tree Shaman plus Hunted Wumpus, he's only smashed to Char. Well, Craig elects to play Hunted Wumpus. Herberholz plays Rumbling Slum for free. Oh, that is not the best Hunted Wumpus Craig Jones has summoned this weekend, I'm sure.
The Moldervine cloak that's about to be attached to Dryad Sophisticate is also not going to make him happy.
Huh.
Craig is going to need to flip up
Damage.
a very dramatic Bathe in Light.
Bathe in Light's the answer, isn't it? He needs Bathe in Light. He's not going to get all the cloaks though, assuming Mark puts one on Dryad Sophisticate.
He can Bathe in Light his own
Burning Tree.
his own Burning Tree Shaman.
Yep, you're right. That would do it.
And get rid of all of them.
Well, can he lethal with a Bathe in Light and a burn spell? He has 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 14 with a Bathe in Light.
But he won't get the Savannah line through on the Bathe in Light.
The Savannah line's probably going to get in front of something, I think.
Yep.
He's got to play for another one of those spectacular draws.
To Rumbling Slump. Wow.
Who red zones?
What does Heezy do? Kurdape's got a brawl here, right?
He's got to put Moldervine Cloak on that Sophisticate. He's got to know that he might lose to a Bathe in Light if he waits too long. He needs to start attacking.
12. And actually, we still have a shock in Craig's hand, right?
Yes.
So
But
yeah,
he's tapped out.
Yeah,
But no. What I'm saying is Bathe in Light will actually.
Oh, it
Bathe
is
in Light
lethal.
actually wins the game for him next turn.
Yeah, I think
Yep.
I think his play is Cloak the Sophisticate, and attack with Kurdape and Sophisticate.
And it's incidental that it kills the Moldervine cloaks. If it
That's a
happens.
good point. It's just lethal.
I think that's the play.
Nova Cloak?
Cloaks the Rumbling Slum. He wants to brawl in the red zone. None of this land walk stuff. None of this unblockable monsters. Let me make the monsters you can block gigantic.
Well, he gladly sent the unblockable monster.
Well, yeah, but for 2. And Rumbling Slum got in there as an 8/8. Kurdape is in there as a 8/9.
I don't
It's
know
a
if I
Kurdape,
like this
a
play.
Sophisticate, and a Rumbling Slum.
So he has to just block Kurdape with Savannah Lion.
He's just trying to eat Craig's creatures, right?
Yeah.
He
I think
doesn't
so.
even care about damaging him.
I think so. Craig can take 10, stick Savannah Lion in front of Kurdape, take 10, and then try to top deck
I mean,
Bathe in Light.
I don't
Yeah.
think he has any other conceivable way to
But then-
win.
7, 8, 9. 10.
He's got a 6, a 3, and a 3. That's
Yeah, no,
12,
it's
and the
Bathe in
shock.
Light. Bathe in Light plus Shock is lethal.
Yeah, that's.
Does he have any other play? Or is it tell me Craig Jones is not in a game 5 needing to top deck one card on one turn
I
to turn a loss
believe
into a
that's
win.
exactly what's happening.
Wow.
He has 2 copies of Bathe in Light in his deck. I think Heezy could have. I don't know about these plays.
How many cards has he used?
Savannah Lion is
Yeah,
13,
lining up to
14?
chump block.
just as we thought.
It's 8, 8. 3. Oh dear.
You take 10.
Yeah, 10, 3.
Craig falls down to 3.
Dope.
Come on.
Bathe in Light.
Bathe in Light wins the game for Craig Jones. I don't know if anything else helps. What was it? Oh, it's a land.
Ah, that's much less exciting than Bathe in Light.
Wow. He's got a Char and a Shock. Char not going to help. Rumbling Slum is about to take him to 2.
14.
Craig Jones has had one
That was it.
hell of a weekend.
That was his window.
I think the window might have just closed.
What if
I
he?
think we might be about to crown Mark Herberholz a Pro Tour champion. Not convinced of that. The board's kind of complicated,
I don't know.
but
Craig
It really depends on how. I mean, unless Mark doesn't block
Yeah,
for
Mark
some reason.
just doesn't block, then he could lose. Like there's what 6?
Yeah. Craig
12
shoves
damage.
everybody into the red zone. So there's 6/600 Wampus, 3/4 Burning Tree Shaman,
Take
and a
3,
Watch
yeah.
Wolf.
I take 3.
Heezy reads it for exactly what it is, desperation. He just chumps a couple times. There it is! Mark Herberholz, Pro Tour champion!
I know.
Same
I
here.
just figured out it was like bathe in a
Craig Jones.
So, like,
Oh,
I could've played
how
it.
close was
Maybe,
the
like,
bait?
2
He just
turns.
flipped it
I
over.
figured, like, if you have it, you have it. You know?
Was
3
it the
cards
next
down.
down?
Like, hurry up and kill you.
3 cards down was the Bathe in Light. Wow, congratulations, Mark Herberholz, Pro Tour Honolulu champion.
Yeah.
Craig Jones could not
I
quite come up
kept,
with the miraculous
3
top deck he
calls,
needed
2
in the
one day,
finals.
and I was just
He
like,
made a hell of a
if
run,
I
but
can
this
grind
Pro
like
Tour will
another
be
creature, I
remembered
can tap out
for the
on
beach
turn 3,
house.
like, that's like
It'll be remembered for Mark
Yeah, you just go
Herberholz.
straight
It'll
with it, yeah.
It'll be remembered for Zoo, And wow, what a way to start
It
the
was a gamble, but
2006
I
season.
I have so many creatures.
What are you guys going to remember this Pro Tour for, Brian?
And I think the yeah.
I'm definitely going to remember seeing Ebony Owl,
was really
Natsuki
good. Third land. Had a chart
winning.
as
I'm
well,
going to remember this is the first Pro Tour in a long time that we haven't seen a Japanese player in the top
Good
8.
point.
Hit third land, and I met the.
And I think,
Burning Shaman,
for the
Fishy
Ruels,
Biscay,
the sight of Olivier and Antoine hugging each other and just being thrilled for one another when they both made the top 8 for the first time in their careers, together.
Yeah, that's a good point.
That was a great moment, and I think really seeing that those guys. That the French are such a magic powerhouse that we haven't, Europe in general, that we haven't recognized, that we've been paying so much attention to Japan. And I mean, Antoine Ruel, for 4 years now, has just been right on top of the standings in the Player of the Year race. Constantly just somewhere between 1st and 5th at all times for 4 seasons.
Right.
So, those are the things I'll remember.
I like the venue.
Mike, what are you
This
gonna remember?
is easily the best venue of all time.
We're currently setting up for an award ceremony, by the way.
Without a
So
doubt.
those of you out there on the internet, if you want to hang out, we will be handing out the trophies, handing out the big checks. Mark Herberholz is going to get a check for $40,000.
Said he's buying all of Osip's drinks tonight.
Buying all of those drinks tonight.
Yep.
Hey, Craig Jones is the one who scooped him into the top 8 too. How about that story?
That
Craig
was
Jones
unbelievable.
contemplating the idea of turning himself into a dream wrecker. Herberholz needed the win. Craig Jones had nothing to play for. Thought about trying to knock Herberholz out of the top 8 because he was afraid he would lose if he got paired against Herberholz in the top 8. And he did exactly that. Lost to Mark Herberholz in the top 8. Back in the Swiss, he changed his mind. He decided not to play Dream Wrecker. He just decided to scoop in Mark Herberholz.
Can't exactly be unhappy with this finish.
Classic nice guys finish second.
Nice guy
scenario.
He's a nice guy. But, I mean, when he's playing, he's tight. He doesn't really surrender any edges like that.
Yeah, it was he knew exactly what he had to do in both of those game 5s. And, that's, it's easy to just dismiss his semifinal as a top deck, but he played for the top deck. It's one of the things we always talk
Absolutely.
about.
Yeah, he played the correct way.
correctly. He played correctly. He made the top deck. That's the thing I'm going to remember. I'm going to remember Craig Jones' top deck, and I'm going to remember the Beach House. I think that's what this is going to be remembered for. I also think it's going to be remembered for starting off a great season. I mean, this is kind of a new Pro Tour, right? The production values are higher. We're having fewer Pro Tours so that each one of them can be more special, taking them to more exotic locations. This is, I think, a great way to kick off the new season, kick off, the second decade for the Pro Tour.
Right. This is going to sound like a silly thing to say, but I'm going to remember the men's room signs.
Really?
And I mean that just in as sort of a funny way of pointing out, the dressing for this Pro Tour. Every aspect of it, from the footwear to the Hawaiian shirts to the bathroom signs, which were Pro Tour, 10 years of the Pro Tour bathroom signs. Everything was impeccable. I was really knocked out just as someone aesthetically.
It's the best venue ever. I can't remember one that was better.
This has been a great Pro Tour, and I have enjoyed bringing it to you. For Brian David Marshall and Mike Flores, I'm Randy Bueller. We will see you next time. We will see you in Prague. Stay tuned for the award ceremony.
Welcome to the 2006 Pro Tour Honolulu Awards Ceremony. Assisting me today will be head judge John Shannon. First, we'd like to congratulate the semifinalists. In 4th place, winning $14,000, Olivier Ruel from France. And in 3rd place, winning $15,000, Tiago Chan from Portugal. Please help me congratulate Pro Tour Honolulu finalist Craig Jones from England. Craig has won $22,000. And now, congratulations to the 2006 Pro Tour Honolulu champion, Mark Herberholz from the USA. Mark has won $40,000 this weekend. Once again, congratulations to the United States, Mark Herberholz. all the staff, judges, and players that made Pro Tour Honolulu such a success. We will see you May 5th through 7th in Prague, Czech Republic. Thank you, and good night.